Tell me, what are you gonna do about it? You son of a bitch.
The story begins in a garage, where we see Frank working. He is a very good mechanic. While Frank is fixing cars, a young woman named Melissa comes in and says she wants him to fix her car. Frank starts joking with her, and we soon find out that Melissa is his girlfriend. The two of them spend some nice, quality time together. Afterward, Frank goes to play football with some local kids. He looks very happy here, playing with the children, and later expressing his love for Melissa. After their time together, Melissa has to take Frank back to jail. Here we learn that Frank is still a prisoner. The last time he escaped, he was able to meet with his mentor just before he died. After that, Frank turned himself over to the police. Because his previous record was very good and showed that he was not a violent person, he was placed in a minimum security jail. His punishment is also scheduled to end very soon. Inside this jail, everyone, from the prisoners to the guards, seems to like Frank a lot. Because of his good behavior, he often gets weekend passes to go out and meet his girlfriend. But tonight is completely different for Frank. While he is sleeping in his cell, a group of guards from another jail forcefully enter. They grab Frank and tell him that he is being transferred to another prison. Frank is confused and says that no one told him about this, and the local guards also seem surprised. The new guards simply hand him a notice and say that this is how they operate. They don't give prisoners any advance. After saying this, they take Frank and leave. Soon, they arrive at another jail. This is Gateway Prison, a place where the most dangerous prisoners in the country are kept. The jail is known for being extremely dangerous. Frank still doesn't understand what is happening to him. That's when he comes face to face with the warden, a man named Drumgoole. As soon as Frank sees him, he is shocked. He immediately understands why he was brought here. Drumgoole is the same warden from the jail Frank escaped from years ago. Drumgoole has deliberately had Frank transferred here to get his revenge. As they take Frank inside, he meets Captain Meissner, who is very strict about the rules. He explains the regulations to Frank. As Frank walks deeper into the prison, he sees how dangerous the other inmates are. After a while, he is taken to see Warden Drumgoole. The warden says to him, "You may have forgotten that time, but I can never forget it. Before you ran away, I was a very good warden. My name was mentioned among the best in America, but the day you escaped from my jail, my reputation was ruined. My position was lowered, my rating went bad, and I was sent to a low-security prison. On the other hand, you became a national hero. Since then, I have been burning in the fire of revenge. And now, I finally have a chance to make you suffer." Frank gets angry and says, "This happened to you because of your own actions. If you had just let me go for 1 hour that day to meet my mentor, then maybe none of this would have happened. You would still be in your old jail, in your old position." Hearing this, Drumgoole says, "You broke the rules. You ran away from jail. You broke the law, and I was the one who got punished." Frank replies, "You weren't the only one who got punished. I also got punished. I was put back in jail for 5 years. If none of that had happened, I would be a free man today." But Drumgoole tells him that his punishment is not over yet. This is just the beginning. After saying this, he sends Frank to a delousing chamber, where they make him take off all his clothes. They tell him they are going to release gas and that he just has to hold his breath for 30 seconds. But after 30 seconds pass, Drumgoole stops his men from turning off the gas, saying, "Let him suffer a little more." Frank is left to suffer for a full minute and a half before they finally turn it off. By then, his condition is terrible. The next day, in the prison yard, we see a man named Chink Weber. Weber is one of Drumgoole's special men. He is a prisoner, but he does whatever the warden wants, and Drumgoole always protects him. This makes him the top dog in the jail. Drumgoole has told Weber to bother Frank, so as soon as Frank comes into the yard, Weber starts taunting him. He secretly gets a shiv, a small prison knife, which he plans to use to kill Frank. A guard comes over and sees the weapon, but Weber's men are all around, and Weber quickly makes the shiv disappear. When the guard searches him, he doesn't find it. The guard asks Frank, "You saw a weapon near him, right? If you tell us, we will punish him." But Frank says that he didn't see anything because he doesn't want to cause more trouble. Later, while Frank is cleaning, a man named Dallas comes up to him and says that he knows him from their old jail. Frank recognizes him too. Dallas tells Frank, "I know you are a clever man and can escape from any jail. If you help me, we can both get out of here." Frank says that he has no interest in escaping. Dallas replies, "But you won't be interested in cleaning either. I know that you are a very good mechanic, so I can get you a job in the garage here." Dallas takes him to the garage, but the man in charge, named Eclipse, sees Frank and says, There is no place for strangers in my garage. Go away. So Frank goes back to cleaning. Dallas comes to him again, this time with a blueprint. He shows it to Frank and says, I have done all the planning. There is a pipe nearby that we can easily get out of. And then another pipe goes to the roof. We can climb it. Frank tells him, you may not have done good research. The temperature inside that first pipe is 180 degrees. If we get inside it, we will be fried. Your plan is nonsense. Dallas gets scared when he hears this. Frank tells him to forget about escaping, because he is going to be released in just 2 months. Dallas understands and then asks him what a good man like him is doing in jail in the first place. Frank tells him that his mentor meant everything to him, and when some people beat his mentor, he couldn't stop himself from beating them badly in return. The next day, while Frank is eating, he sees a young, innocent-looking boy who everyone calls First Base. Frank thinks the boy is harmless, so he goes and sits with him. Dallas also joins them, but First Base says that he doesn't want to talk or make any friends. Just then, a man with a shiv walks by and kills another inmate. Seeing this, First Base gets very scared. Frank tells him that if he doesn't join a group, he will be killed just like that. First Base understands that to survive in this jail, you need to have a group, so he starts hanging out with Frank. Later, while Frank is in the yard, Weber challenges him to a game of football. Frank agrees to play, but during the game, Weber's men beat Frank a lot and constantly cheat. Still, everyone can see how strong Frank is, and that if they played fair, he would be a very good player. Eclipse, the man from the garage, sees how they are annoying Frank. He comes over and tells Frank, now I will play with you. The two of them start playing together. Eclipse is a very big man, so he easily pushes Weber's men down, and in the end, they win the match. But now the game gets very dirty, and everyone starts fighting. The guards come and separate everyone. After the fight, Eclipse tells Frank, now you can come to my garage. There is a lot of work for you. The next day, Frank goes to the garage, and Eclipse shows him around and explains the work. While working, Frank sees an old Ford Mustang that has been out of order for many days. Eclipse says that the car used to be one of his favorites, but now it's completely rotten and can't be fixed. Frank says that he wants to try. Eclipse tells him that if he can fix it, he will get whatever he wants. Frank starts working on the car day and night. Soon, everyone joins in to help him, including Dallas and First Base. Before long, Frank has made the car shine and has also made it fit to drive again. Everyone celebrates. Then, First Base sits in the car. He tells Frank that he has never driven a car in his entire life. Frank teaches him how to drive and even lets him start the car. He tells him to press the accelerator and feel the power. First Base loves it and asks if he can ever start the car again. Frank says no, that this is the last time, but then First Base puts the car in gear and starts driving it. Frank tries to stop him, but First Base takes the car out into the prison yard and starts spinning it everywhere at full speed. The warden comes, and Frank manages to stop the car. The guards take both of them out, but as soon as Warden Drumgoole arrives, he lets First Base go and tells the guards to grab Frank. First Base keeps shouting that it was his fault, but Drumgoole doesn't care. He just wants to punish Frank. He asks for a baseball bat, gives it to Weber, and tells him to destroy the car. Weber and his men smash the car to pieces. Now, they take Frank to the dark cellar, a tiny room with only a small light. They start to torture him there. Several times a day, they flash extremely bright lights at him and make him look at a camera and state his name and age. They keep torturing Frank like this day after day. Frank starts to go crazy. One day, when he says the wrong name, several guards go inside and start beating him. Seeing this, Captain Meissner gets angry. He tells the guards that this is completely wrong and that this can't happen in his jail. He says, you can't torture a man like this. He hasn't done anything wrong, and you are punishing him more than necessary just because the warden is angry with him. After saying this, he sends the guards away and lets Frank out, apologizing to him. Just then, another guard named Braden comes. He is also a man of principle. He found out that Frank's girlfriend Melissa has been writing him letters, but the warden has been keeping them from him. So Braden brings all the letters and gives them to Frank. Seeing the letters from Melissa, Frank gets very emotional. The next day, he meets his friends. First Base tells him that he was treated very wrongly and didn't deserve that punishment. But Frank says that it doesn't matter because he is going to be released in 21 days. But Weber is still trying to make sure Frank never gets released. While Frank is eating, Weber snatches his plate from him, but Frank doesn't react. His friends come over and give Frank their own food. Now, Warden Drumgoole is very angry with Weber. He tells him, I don't want Frank to get out of this jail. You need to do something to force him to do something wrong. And if you don't, I will make someone else the boss here. After hearing this, Weber gets very angry. That night, he sends his men to get first base and bring him to the gym room. As soon as first base arrives, Weber's men surround him and beat him. They lay him on a weight bench. Then Weber comes and drops a very heavy weight right on first base's chest. And just like that, first base dies. Weber did this on purpose so that Frank would get angry and kill him, which would increase Frank's prison sentence. As soon as Frank finds out that first base is dead, he runs to him. He is devastated when he sees his dead friend because he understands why they killed him. They want him to get angry and kill Weber. So Frank comes out of the room in a rage. He starts beating all of Weber's men. After beating them, he gets to Weber, and he also beats him mercilessly. The next morning, Weber comes to attack Frank again, but instead Frank starts beating him. He injures him, drops him on the weight bench, and picks up a heavy weight. Now he is going to throw that weight on Weber, the same way Weber killed first base. Warden Drumgoole is watching this and says, "You just kill him. After that, I will make your life hell." Because Drumgoole wants Frank to kill him, and Frank also understands this. That's why he doesn't kill Weber. Just then, one of Weber's men picks up a weight and stabs Frank from behind. Frank gets injured and is put in the medical ward to begin his treatment. When Melissa finds out about this, she comes to the jail to visit Frank. She is given half an hour, but when she comes to Frank and they start talking, after only 5 minutes, Drumgoole's men come and say that her time is up. Melissa says she was given half an hour, but they force her to leave and take her outside. This makes Frank very angry. But when Frank is asleep that night, another prisoner comes to him. He says, "I know you. I was in the old jail with you. And tomorrow morning, I'm gonna be released from here. And do you know what I'm gonna do after I'm released? I'm gonna rape your girlfriend." After saying this, he shows Frank a picture of Melissa and leaves, laughing. After seeing this, Frank gets very angry and starts shouting at the guards. But when a guard comes, Frank says he just has to make one phone call. The guard says no. This makes Frank even more angry. He understands that these people won't help him. He tells Dallas that he has to run away from here. Dallas is shocked and says, "You're gonna be released in 6 days. Why do you want to run away?" Frank says, "I don't have 6 days. My girlfriend's life is in danger. If I stay here for 6 days, she won't survive." So the two of them make a plan. That night, when Dallas is taking the laundry, Frank attacks him, and Dallas starts shouting. As soon as a guard comes in, they both knock the guard unconscious and start to run away. No one knows that 2 prisoners are escaping. They run and reach a fork in the tunnel. Frank says they have to go to the right, that he saw it on the map. But Dallas says, "No, we have to go to the left. Believe me." And he forces Frank to go to the left. As soon as they go ahead, Dallas closes a gate behind him. That's when Frank sees guards all around him. They all close the gates, trapping him. Then Frank realizes that Dallas has cheated him. Frank asks, "Why did you do this?" Dallas says, "You will be released soon because you have a small punishment, but I have been in prison for life. Drumgoole promised me that if I helped him trap you, he would let me run away." Now Drumgoole says to Frank that his punishment will be increased by 10 years because this is his second escape attempt. He says, "And in 10 years, I will turn your life into hell." Then Dallas asks if he can go now, but Drumgoole says no. No prisoner can escape from my jail. After hearing this, Dallas gets angry and says that he has been cheated. Then Drumgoole signals his guards, and they all start beating Dallas and drown him in the water. Then Drumgoole tells his guards to beat Frank the same way. The guards start beating Frank, but he fights back and starts beating them. But one last guard sprays pepper spray in Frank's eyes, so he can't see. The guard starts beating him, but Frank stands up again, picks him up, and throws him in the water. Frank is about to run away when Dallas, who is still alive, tells him that he made a big mistake and asks for help. Frank is about to help him when the guard stands up and puts a chain around Frank's neck, about to kill him. Then Dallas takes out a live electrical wire and tells the guard to leave Frank, or he will put the wire in the water, and they will all die. The guard gets scared, but Dallas doesn't stop. He puts the wire in the water. The electricity spreads everywhere, and both Dallas and the guard die. But now Frank starts to run away. The news spreads everywhere that Frank is trying to escape. The policemen spread out all over. Frank reaches the roof and sees a pipeline. He takes off his shirt and throws it into the pipeline, which leads outside the jail. The policemen find the shirt and start looking for him everywhere, thinking that Frank has escaped. That's when we see Drumgoole, who tells everyone that he wants Frank alive. Just then, Frank appears behind Drumgoole and holds a shiv to him. He says, "What did you think? That I will run away from here and keep running all my life? I will never do this." After saying this, he takes Drumgoole to the execution room, where there is an electric chair. Frank puts Drumgoole in the same chair. By then, all the guards come there. Frank has taped his hands to the switch, so if he moves, the electric current will flow, and Drumgoole will die. That's why no guard touches Frank. Frank tells Drumgoole that he will confess all his sins in front of Captain Meisner, that he deliberately trapped him, and that he wasn't trying to run away. Drumgoole is very scared, so he confesses everything. Meisner understands that Frank is innocent. That's when Frank pulls the switch. But he shows Meisner that he had already removed the fuse. That is, he was never going to kill Drumgoole. But now that Meisner has found out the whole truth, he tells his guards to capture Drumgoole and Frank. An investigation is started on Frank, and after a week, he is released. Meisner is very happy that Frank is being released, and Frank is also very happy with his freedom. But legal proceedings are still going on against Drumgoole, and this film ends here.